According to the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Liam Spencer has recently been given a second shot in life. Imagine believing you have just a few days to live and stepping in front of a bullet, only to find out your cancer has been healed and you will live. In Liam's situation, he is going to hear that he never had cancer at all. Regardless, Spencer Eyre has a clean bill of health and is looking for a lucky lady to enjoy his second chance at life with. Now that Liam is not going to die, who will he end up with? Steffy Forrester, Hope Logan, or someone totally different? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers are below. A second chance at life and $1 million bill. Liam Spencer will be enraged when Dr. Grace Buckingham reveals the truth about the Bold and the Beautiful. Bill Spencer is undoubtedly going to request a refund. Everyone will be mystified by the latest developments in Liam's cancer case. After the dust settles, Liam and his loved ones will have reason to celebrate. Only a few weeks ago on Bold and Beautiful, Liam's loved ones were preparing to say goodbye to him. Dollar Bill's son accepted his fate. Liam had no desire to establish a future with anyone because Dr. Buckingham had told him he did not have one. Who does Liam Spencer want to be with now that he's not dying? Following his divorce, Liam Spencer attempted to reclaim Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester. Both of his ex-partners turned him down, but a lot has changed since then. Sparks flew between Liam and Steffy when he feared he was dying, but she left town to collect her thoughts following the shooting. Will Liam Spencer go after Steffy? According to rumors, Liam could depart Los Angeles to pursue Steffy. Her marriage is currently under a lot of pressure, and it's evident she still has feelings for him. On the other hand, Hope Logan remains by his side and supports him. Sure, she is engaged to Carter Walton, but can Carter match with Lope's years of experience? Liam Spencer stood at the edge of the Forrester Creations office, his gaze tracing the elegant lines of the Los Angeles skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city swarmed below, a wild symphony of ambition and dreams, mirroring the anguish raging within him. He was a man reborn, or so it seemed, following the dissolution of his marriage to Hope Logan and the intricate dance he'd been performing with Steffy Forrester for years. Liam's life had been a series of mistakes, reconciliations, and heartbreaks, but here at this crossroads, he felt the weight of another chance. The question was, who would he want to share it with? Steffy, the strong, independent woman who had always challenged him? Or Hope, the gentle soul who had anchored him through so many storms? The answer was not straightforward, and the stakes were bigger than ever. Liam's relationship with both ladies was complicated, constructed across years of love, betrayal, and forgiveness. He'd married Hope, started a family with her, and believed in the idea of forever. However, their marriage had shattered under the weight of miscommunication, trust issues, and the relentless pull of outside pressures. Hope had always been his safe harbor, seeing the best in him even when he doubted himself. Her warmth, faith in redemption, and unshakable devotion to their daughter Beth had anchored him in ways he hadn't realized until it was too late. Their divorce was amicable, but the pain of losing her lingered, a silent reminder of what might have been. Then there was Steffy, the wildfire in Hope's tranquil water. Steffy exuded fire and intensity, demanding everything and giving just as much in return. Their connection had always been electrifying, like a spark that never went out, no matter how many times they attempted to go on. She was now the CEO of Forrester Creations, a formidable force in her own right, and Liam couldn't help but admire her ability to command a room. Their past was full with unmistakable chemistry, as well as pain, infidelities, secrets, and the shadow of their difficult families. Steffy claimed to have moved on with Finn, her loyal husband, but Liam knew her all too well. There was still something between them, unsaid but evident. The office was quiet now, and the hum of the workweek had faded. Liam leaned against the desk, his fingertips tracing the edge of a framed photograph of Beth. His kid was the only consistency in his life, the reason he wanted to be better and make better decisions. But the decision between Steffy and Hope was about more than just him. It was about the type of life he desired and the type of man he wanted to be. He'd been granted a second chance, not only in love but in life. A near-death experience, a vehicle accident that had left him in a coma for weeks, had rocked him to his core. When he woke up in that hospital bed, tubes dangling from his arms, he decided to stop floating, to stop allowing fate to pick his future. This time he would make a choice. Hope was there when he awoke, her tear-streaked face the first thing he noticed. She'd held his hand and whispered assurances that he'd be okay, that Beth needed him. Her presence had been a balm, relieving his fear in those early days of recovery. But Steffi had also arrived, her visits quieter and more guarded. She'd sat at his bedside, her eyes seeking for his, and despite her lack of words, Liam felt the weight of her presence. Both ladies cared, but in very different ways. Hope's love was constant and caring, whereas Steffi's was fierce, practically challenging him to match her level. As he stood in the office, Liam's mind replayed the key events in his relationships with both women. With Hope it was the little things, the way she'd laugh at his bad jokes, the late-night discussions about their goals for Beth, the peaceful mornings when they'd sit together, coffee in hand, contemplating their future. But there were also the disagreements, the times he let her down, and the times he was too preoccupied with his own thoughts to see her sorrow. He had taken her for granted, expecting she would always be present, and his arrogance had cost them their marriage. In contrast, Steffi was a whirlwind. Their relationship had always been explosive, with a constant tug-of-war between want and frustration. She challenged him in ways that Hope never did, forcing him to confront his weaknesses and strive to be better. But with Steffi came chaos. Her life was a whirlwind of turmoil, from family feuds to corporate disputes, and Liam worried if he could handle it. However, there was something enticing about her that made him feel alive in a way he hadn't in years. He recalled the night of the accident, the last vivid recollection before everything went dark. He had been driving, his mind whirling with images of both women. He'd seen Hope earlier that day, her grin tinged with regret as they reviewed Beth's most recent school assignment. Later, he'd run into Steffi at Forrester, her eyes fixed on his with that familiar sparkle. He'd been distracted, split between his past with Hope and the irresistible allure of Steffi. The crash was his fault, a moment of inattention that almost lost him everything. He was up, living, and forced to confront the decisions he'd avoided for years. Liam was distracted by his phone, which buzzed. Hope texted, "Beth has asked for you. Can you stop by tonight?" His heart clenched. Beth was his North Star, the one thing he would never doubt. He typed a short response promising to be there and put the phone down. He envisioned going to Hope's place and seeing her in the gentle glow of the living room, her hair pulled back, a glass of wine in her hand, smiling at him. It would be so easy to return to that life and try to reconstruct what they had lost. But was this what he wanted? Or was he simply seeking the comfort of familiarity? Steffi's face appeared in his memory, with her strong jawline and piercing eyes. She was now married to Finn, a man who appeared to be everything Liam wasn't. Stable, uncomplicated, and dedicated. But Liam understood Steffi's heart, the way she gazed at him when she thought no one was looking. There was still something left, a thread that hadn't been severed. Could he actually walk away from that? Did he actually want to? The office door opened and Liam turned, half expecting to see one of the women he had been thinking about. Instead it was Ridge, Steffi's father and Liam's mentor/adversary. Ridge's presence filled the room, his silver hair reflecting the light as he crossed his arms. "You look like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders," Ridge observed, his voice rough yet compassionate. Liam gave a half-smile. "Something like that." Ridge looked at him for a time, his eyes narrowing. "You've gone through hell, Liam. But you are here. Do not waste it." "I'm trying not to," Liam said, his voice lower than he wanted. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next." Ridge nodded, as if he knew more than what Liam was saying. "You have a history with my daughter. And with Hope. But it's not about them. It is about you. Find out who you are, Liam. Then you will know who you want." The comment struck Liam harder than he expected. Ridge was correct. This wasn't only about choose between Steffi and Hope. It was about choosing himself and deciding what kind of life he wanted to live. He'd spent so long bouncing between the two women, letting their love define him, that he'd lost sight of who he was apart from them. After Ridge had left, Liam sat at his desk, selecting a notebook from the drawer. He started writing not a letter or a plan but a list of what was important to him. Beth was constantly at the top. Then came his career at Spencer Publications, where he hoped to leave his own legacy. Then what? Love? Stability? Passion? He typed down both women's names, then crossed them out in frustration. This was not about picking one over the other. It came down to making a decision regarding your life. When Hope arrived that evening, his home was warm and inviting. Beth ran towards him, her small arms wrapping around his legs, and Liam felt a burst of determination. Hope waited in the doorway, her expression sweet yet cautious. They talked for a time about Beth, life, and the future. When their hands brushed, Liam felt the same spark, but it was different now, less urgent, more like a recollection. Later, he noticed Steffi at a Forrester gathering, her laughter piercing through the crowd. She caught his eye, and for a minute it was just the two of them with the rest of the world falling away. But Finn was also there with his arm around her, and Liam noticed how Steffi leaned into him, relaxed and satisfied. Stung, but it clarified something. Steffi was going onward, and he might need to as well. Days moved into weeks, and Liam immersed himself in his profession, his role as a father, and his personal recovery. He visited Hope on a daily basis, and their co-parenting had a comfortable pace. He also visited Steffi, although less frequently, as her life took her in various directions. Slowly, the fog in his head cleared. He didn't have to choose between them, not now, maybe never. His second opportunity was not about finding the ideal lady, but about becoming the right guy. Liam felt a sense of tranquility that he hadn't felt in years as he sat with Beth and told her a bedtime tale. The future was unknown, but for the first time he was not terrified of it. Steffi or Hope? Perhaps neither, both, or someone altogether new. What mattered was that he was alive and eager to create the next chapter, on his own terms. Hope Logan sat in the clean, modern office of Forrester Creations, her fingertips tracing the edge of a sketchpad with her most recent creations. The room was alive with the peaceful hum of creativity, but her mind was elsewhere, entangled in a web of emotions and decisions that had been weighing on her for weeks. The weight of her future felt heavier than ever, and today was the day she faced it head-on. She had asked Liam Spencer and Carter Walton, two of the most important men in her life, to meet her here. This wasn't just about her job or the fashion empire she helped build. It was about her heart, family, and the road she would take next. The Los Angeles light shone through the floor-to-ceiling windows, producing lengthy shadows on the polished hardwood flooring. Hope looked at her reflection in a nearby mirror, her blue eyes seeking clarity. Her blonde hair was pulled back into a loose ponytail, and she wore a fitted blue dress from her own Hope for the Future collection. Simple yet bold, much like the decision she was about to make. She wasn't the innocent young woman who had strayed into the world of Forrester Creations, full of hopes and dreams. Life had taught her perseverance, but it had also strained her relationships, especially those with Liam and Carter. Liam arrived first, his familiar presence filling the room with both warmth and stress. He was dressed casually in a fitting blazer and pants, his disheveled hair and easy smile a reminder of their turbulent relationship. Liam, the father of her daughter Beth and her on-and-off-again boyfriend, had been a constant in her life for years. Their bond was evident, but so were the fissures in their foundation. Years of betrayal, misunderstanding, and competing loyalties had left them in a vulnerable state. "Hey, Hope," Liam whispered softly, his voice filled with love that made her heart hurt. "You sounded serious over the phone. What's happening?" Hope gave a modest grin, but her eyes revealed her fear. "Thank you for coming, Liam. I just need to talk to you and Carter together. It's important." Liam's brow wrinkled, but he nodded and sank into one of the plush chairs opposite from her desk. He knew better than to press her for answers before she was prepared. Their history had taught him that Hope would divulge the truth in her own time. Carter Walton entered moments later, his demeanor commanding yet welcoming. Carter, Forrester Creations' chief operating officer, carried himself with quiet confidence, his sharp suit and steady gaze a testament to his position as the company's anchor. But to Hope he was more than just a colleague. Their friendship had grown over the years, becoming more complex, something that had begun to test the limits of her heart. Carter's black eyes met hers, and she felt a flare of something she couldn't identify. "Hope," Carter murmured, his tone calm and soothing. "Are you okay? You said it was urgent." "I'm fine," she said, her voice wavering slightly. "Or at least I'm attempting to be. Please sit down." Carter took the chair next to Liam, and the two men exchanged a brief, polite nod. The air in the room became dense with unsaid inquiries. Hope stood, moving gently to gather her thoughts. This was more than just her affections for these two men, though that was obviously a factor. It was about her identity, her career at Forrester Creations, and the legacy she hoped to leave for her daughter. "I've been doing a lot of thinking lately," Hope explained, her voice steadying as she spoke. "About my life job, and the people who mean the most to me. I've spent years pouring my heart into hope for the future, hoping to make a difference through this organization. But I've also spent years caught in a cycle of love and heartbreak, trying to figure out who I am outside of all the turmoil." Liam shifted in his seat, his gaze fixed on her. He knew this was about more than simply their connection, yet he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that ran through him. Carter remained motionless, his countenance unreadable but attentive. Hope continued, her words calm but full of emotion. "For so long, I've let other people's decisions determine my existence. I've been pushed in all directions by family love and expectations. But I am done with that. I need to decide what I want, not just for myself, but for Beth, my work, and the future I want to create." She hesitated, her eyes shifting between the two males. "That is why I invited you both here. You've both been such an important part of my life in various ways. Liam, you are Beth's father, and we have shared so much good and bad. Carter, you've been my rock buddy and possibly more. I have to be honest with both of you and with myself." Liam leaned forward, his voice calm yet urgent. "Hope, no matter what you're going through, you know I'm here. We have been through so much together. If this is about us and healing things—" "It's not just about us," Hope said, her tone stern yet gentle. "It is up to me to figure out what I need to do next. I have been stranded, Liam. We've been stranded. Our history is magnificent but sometimes sad. I need to know if I'm clinging on to anything out of habit, or because it's exactly what I want." Carter's jaw tightened slightly, but he maintained his normal calm. "I hope you realize I care about you. Whatever you chose, I will back you. But I need to understand where I stand in all of this." Hope nodded, glad for his honesty. She took a deep breath and clasped her hands tightly in front of her. "I've been offered an opportunity," she replied, her voice growing stronger. "A chance to take hope for the future to the next level. A group of investors in Europe want to work with me to extend the line abroad. It would provide me with more creative control, a larger platform to spread my message of sustainability and empowerment, and a temporary departure from Los Angeles." The room went silent. Liam's eyes widened, and Carter's face softened with understanding. Hope continued, knowing she couldn't stop now. "It's a huge step," she explained. "It's not only about my career. It's about whether I'm willing to leave go of the life I've always known here. Life with you, Liam, and our family. Carter, I value my life with you and the stability you have provided. I can't keep separating my heart to appease everyone else. I need to decide what's best for myself." Liam's voice pierced the silence, tainted with doubt. "Are you thinking of leaving? For how long? What about Beth?" "Beth is my priority," Hope stated firmly. "If I do this, I will make sure she is taken care of. She might accompany me, or we would find a way to make it work. But I also need to do this for myself. I've spent a long time striving to be the perfect mother, daughter, and designer. I need to understand who I am when I'm not trying to meet everyone else's expectations." Carter leaned back in his chair, his gaze focused. "This sounds like something you've been wrestling with for a while," he told you. "Did you make up your mind?" Hope paused, her heart hammering. "Not completely," she admitted. "That's why I needed to speak with you both. I need to comprehend what I'm leaving behind and what I'm heading toward. Liam, you and I share a past that has shaped me in so many ways. But I need to know if we are holding on to something that is preventing us from progressing. Carter, you've shown me what it is to be fully seen without baggage. But I'm not sure if I'm ready to make that leap." Liam ran his hand through his hair, his frustration clear. "I love you, Hope. I have always adored you. If you need space to think things out, I'll provide it to you. But do not shut me out. Don't make this decision without me." Carter's voice was quieter but just as fierce. "I have never sought to complicate your life, Hope. But I will not lie. I want to be a part of it. If you're departing, let me know where we stand. I can't keep being the man who's always there, only to see you disappear." Hope felt tears sting her eyes, but she blinked them away. The worst part was knowing that whatever she selected would hurt someone. She strolled to the window and looked out at the enormous city below. Los Angeles had become her home, battleground, and everything. But it had also been a place of pain, of never-ending cycles that she couldn't break. "I don't want to lose either of you," she finally stated, turning back to face them. "But I can't continue living in this limbo. I need to make a decision, not only about this chance but also about who I am and what I want my life to be. I am not asking for your approval, but for your understanding." Liam stood and crossed the room to be closer to her. "I will always support you, Hope. But I won't give up on us. If you require time, take it. But I'll be here to fight for our family." Carter remained sat, gaze fixed on hers. "I'll respect whatever you decide," the man said. "But I won't pretend I don't want more. You, Hope, deserve to be happy. Whatever that looks like." The room became hushed again, the weight of their remarks lingering in the air. Hope felt the magnitude of the moment crushing down on her, but for the first time in a long time she felt a spark of clarity. This wasn't just about deciding between two men or two paths. It was about choosing herself. "I need time," she admitted finally. "Not simply to decide on the investors, but also to discover what's in my heart. I'm not leaving any of you, but I need to do this on my own terms." Liam nodded, his eyes full of unspoken concern. Carter gave her a modest, reassuring grin, but his eyes were filled with melancholy. Hope knew this was just the beginning. The path ahead would be difficult, but it was hers to navigate. As the two guys exited the office, Hope returned to her desk, her sketchpad still open in front of her. She picked up a pencil and started drawing, the lines flowing easily for the first time in weeks. Whatever she selected, she was convinced of one thing. She had the ability to build her own future, and she was eager to take the first step.